Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Why Am I Yelling? I'm Krista. I'm your host. And today we are talking about faith and gratitude in relationships. This is going to be a little bit of a three-part story. So I'm starting it with a conversation that I had the other day with a new friend of mine who is the host of a podcast, and she asked me to be on it. And so we are talking about, my book, plug, uh, and all the information that's in it and the five essentials and how I came to writing about this book and making it a foundational relationship book and not focusing on one specific relationship, but focusing on all the essential elements you need to have successful relationships in every area of your life, personal, professional, and all that stuff. And a question came up from her at the end of our conversation because this is what she wanted to know. She said, I know what you teach about in relationships. I know you teach the five essentials, and I know that you are passionate about creating positive relationships in your life and how to deal with relationships on different levels. But I want to know what you have learned about your relationships as you've moved through your life in and out of different relationships with different people, your husband, your children, your friends, yourself, all of those things. And my answer came very quickly. My answer was, that's easy. For me, my relationships are meaningful, and my answer to that is faith and gratitude. I have learned a great deal of faith and gratitude when it comes to my relationships, to be uh, very appreciative of them, regardless of how they turned out in my life, and to really believe in them and put the effort in and do the work. Because if you don't have faith in the relationship that you're having, then it's not going to be easy to successfully maintain that relationship and keep it thriving. And if you're not grateful for those relationships, you at some point are going to start taking them for granted. And that's how cracks start to appear and come to the surface. So that was my answer to her when we were having that conversation. And I think about it pretty frequently, faith and gratitude in relationships, because I talk about them all the time. And I'm reminded of it on a fairly consistent basis. I think pretty much every day I'm reminded to be grateful for my relationships and or believing that something is going to happen in a particular relationship, or believing that something's going to get better, or something's going to change, or something is going to expand in them. Doesn't matter which one. It could be focusing on one specific one day and one specific another day. I'm a mother, so there's a lot of parenting relationships happening right now. And there are times when I expect to feel gratitude and more faith in my relationships, and there are other times when I'm surprised, a little bit surprised by it. So yesterday I had both of those incidences. Yesterday, Will and I had to go to a funeral. My uncle, we're an Italian family. Everybody is an aunt or an uncle in our family. But my uncle Vito was 80 years old, and he passed away last week. And Will and I went to the funeral yesterday. It was upstate, so we went up and we, spent some time with our family and went to the funeral service. And I was struck with, like I typically am at funerals, by the outpouring of support and love and just beautiful things that are said about our family members or friends, whoever we are there for in support of that day. So in this case, I was sitting, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house, I'm sure, listening to my cousins talk about their dad, Uncle Vito. And he was larger than life and just a wonderful, wonderful human being. And so I was feeling particularly grateful to be in that room yesterday, and feeling particularly grateful that uh, no matter where we are in our family, especially if we're kind of in close proximity, we all, live in New York and we're all within a few hours of each other. If we really are in need of one another, we show up. And there are some times when we can't because there are obligations. But when there's something like this, people show up. You go to the funeral, and you go and you do the right thing. So feeling particularly grateful about that and feeling very faithful in the relationships that I have with this family that was in that room that yesterday. Um, I believe a lot of things, and I believe that uh, your faith gets you through a lot, especially when you need to lean on it in times of struggle or sorrow or hardship. And I think that in that room there was a lot of faith yesterday, and I was also grateful for that. On the flip side of that, we had to rush back to New York City after the funeral because it was Meet the Teacher night at the high school. And as you know, if you are following me at all, I have a freshman this year attending a school in New York City, a school that he had no exposure to prior to going to it. So, I was looking forward to this night, looking forward to meeting his teachers. We had met his soccer coach, so we knew him, but that pretty much was it. We hadn't met any of his other teachers yet. And I like to keep my expectations low during Meet the Teacher night because it's always, it's a couple of weeks into school. It's a new school for him. I don't know if he is keeping his head down and not really making his presence known, if he's kind of trying to fly under the radar. You're never really sure with this particular child of mine. So I like to go in with a zero expectation on what I'm going to get back from the teachers. I'm hoping to hear that he's a good kid and he's participating and all that stuff. But I don't know because, they're teenagers and you only get a certain amount of information from them when they come home. How was your day? Fine. Are you making any friends? I guess, that kind of stuff. And I'm also not a pusher when it comes to requiring them to give me information. They'll talk when they're ready. He's really good at, saying goodnight and laying in bed with me for a few minutes and just chatting. And then that's when we kind of connect. And that we've been doing that since my kids were babies. So that's really our time. So yesterday we show up at the school and we are going from classroom to classroom and we're extremely impressed with all the teachers and the school and we're really excited about it. And um, I was feeling particularly grateful after visiting just about every single one of his teachers because they all said such lovely things about him. And his history teacher was like, the look on your face right now is like, you aren't expecting me to say that I am really enjoying having him in my class and that he's helpful and that he is polite and kind and he's considerate to his classmates and he participates in all these things. And I said, no, it's not that I may have looked a little shocked. I don't know. It's not that I'm so shocked because I have heard those things before about him. But I was a little bit taken aback because it is a new environment for him. He doesn't know a single person in that school. He does now because he's been there for a couple weeks and he's playing soccer. But he basically walked in blind on the first day. And when you're a teenager and you're going through all the stuff that you're going through in real life, in your head and in your heart and in your body and all the things that are going on, I don't know if I expected him to stand out or sit back. And I was really feeling very grateful for the fact that he's decided to step up and participate and make friends and be an asset to his teachers. And I think that's why I particularly choose to be grateful for my relationships every day. And I choose to have a faith in not just things, but in myself, in the way that I am parenting with my husband, and the way that we are creating our relationship as a model for our kids, and really working toward having everything that we want to have when it comes to our relationships. And so that, my friends, is my 10-minute talk about faith and gratitude in relationships. And so I want to know what you are grateful for in your relationships and how your belief system inside of yourself gets you through the times that you need it the most in your relationships. So leave your comments, send me a DM, send me an email. I want to hear back about this one because I think this one is super important. And we will be back here next week. I hope you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we'll see you soon. Bye.